الله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, this evening we are going to explain a passage from Al-Quran from Surah Al-Kahf. The background of the whole lesson is that when our Prophet ﷺ was in Mecca, the mushrikeen of Mecca, they approached the Jews of Al-Madinah, asking them that if you knew something about the past, about any strange things which we could ask Muhammad ﷺ, which may embarrass him because he believes that revelation comes to him and he is informed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of things unseen, of the past, of the future. The Jews, they gave them three questions. They said, ask them about the soul. What is the soul? Ask them about 7 young men who left their country because they were persecuted there and then they disappeared. Ask him about a man of a great authority who got 3 expeditions in his life. A great man, a great king, a great warrior. Now, these 3 questions were put to the Prophet ﷺ, and he waited for the revelation until the revelation came. One question is answered in Surah Al-Isra, the surah before Surah Al-Kahf. وَيَسَأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. They ask you about the soul. Tell them that the soul is one of the commandments of my Lord, and you are given a knowledge, but a very little knowledge. So that was the answer about the soul. And the second question is about the young man who disappeared. The story is related in Surah Al-Kahf, which is also known as the story of 7 sleepers, right in the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf. And in the end of Surah Al-Kahf comes the story of that great warrior who got 3 expeditions. Quran remembers him as ZulQarnayn. Now in this lesson we are going to find out who was ZulQarnayn, which personality might be ZulQarnayn, which the description of which fits the description of the Quran. Now let me read first this passage from Surah Al-Kahf about ZulQarnayn, his 3 expeditions. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويسألونك عن ذي القرنين قل سأتلو عليكم منه ذكرا. They ask thee concerning ZulQarnayn, say, I will rehearse to you something of a story. إِنَّا مَكَّنَّا لَهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَبَبًا. Verily we established his power on earth, and we gave him the ways and the means to all ends. فَأَتْبَعَ السَّبَبَ. One such way he followed. حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغَ مَغْرِبَ الشَّمْسِ وَجَدَهَا تَغْرُبُ فِي عَيْنٍ حَمِئَةٍ وَوَجَدَ عِنْدَهَا قَوْمًا قُلْنَا يَا ذَا الْقَرْنَيْنِ إِمَّا أَن تُعَذِّبَ وَإِمَّا أَن تَتَّخِذَ فِيهِمْ حُسْنًا. Until when he reached the setting of the sun, he found it set in a spring of murky water. Near it he found a people. We said, O ZulQarnayn, thou hast authority either to punish them or to treat them with kindness. قال أما من ظلم فسوف نعذبه ثم يرد إلى ربه فيعذبه عذابا نكرا. He said, whosoever does wrong, him shall be punished, then shall he be sent back to his Lord, and he will punish him with a punishment unheard of before. وَأَمَّا مَنْ آمَنَ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا فَلَهُ جَزَاءً الْحُسْنَى وَسَنَقُولُ لَهُ مِنْ أَمْرِنَا يُسْرًا. But whosoever believes and works righteousness, he shall have a goodly reward, and easy will be his task as we order it by our command. ثُمَّ أَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. Then he followed another way. حتى إذا بلغ مطلع الشمس وجدها تطلع على قوم لم نجعل لهم من دونها سترا. Until when he came to the rising of the sun, he found it rising on a people for whom we had provided no covering protection against the sun. كذلك وقد أحطنا بما لديه خبرا. He left them as they were. We completely understood what was before him. ثُمَّ أَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. Then followed he another way. حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغَ بَيْنَ الصَّدَّيْنِ وَجَدَ مِن دُونِهِمَا قَوْمًا لَا يَكَادُونَ يَفْقَهُونَ قَوْلًا. Until when he reached a tract between two mountains, he found beneath them a people who scarcely understood a word. قالوا يا ذا القرنين إن يأجوج ومأجوج مفسدون في الأرض فهل نجعل لك خرجا على أن تجعل بيننا وبينهم سدا. They said, O ZulQarnayn, the Gog and Magog people do great mischief on earth. Shall we then render thee tribute in order that thou mightest erect a barrier between us and them? قال ما مكني فيه ربي خير فأعينوني بقوة أجعل بينكم وبينهم ردما. He said, the power in which my Lord had established me is better than tribute. Help me, therefore, with strength and labor. I will erect a stronger barrier between you and them. آتوني زبر الحديد حتى إذا ساوى بين الصدفين قال انفخوا حتى إذا جعله نارا قال آتوني أفرغ عليه قطرا. Bring me blocks of iron at length. When he had filled up the space between the two steep mountainsides, he said, blow with your bellows. Then, when he had made it red as fire, he said, bring me that I may pour over it molten lead. فَمَا اسْتَطَاعُوا أَنْ يَظْهَرُوهُ وَمَا اسْتَطَاعُوا لَهُ نَقْبًا. He said, this is a mercy from my Lord. But when the promise of my Lord comes to pass, he will make it into dust, and the promise of my Lord is true. So that is the passage of Surah Al-Kahf, which speaks about ZulQarnayn, a great man who got 3 expeditions, one to the west and one to the east, and one to another place where Gog and Magog are reported to attack some people, and then he made a barrier between them and Gog and Magog. So people right from the beginning, they wanted to know who was this ZulQarnayn, because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned a personality, among these 3 questions, because the only question which was not given answer in detail is the soul. Because as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, that soul is one of the commandments of Allah, and you are given a little knowledge about that. So that is the reason we don't discuss a lot about the soul. Our knowledge about the soul is limited. But ZulQarnayn, look at the whole passage. The whole passage is given. So it means that there must be a personality in the history which could be compared with the description given here of ZulQarnayn. Our Mufassirin, first of all, they have mentioned a person known to everybody, Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great, who was, who appeared around 320, 350 years before Christ. Alexander the Great, Al-Iskandar in Arabic. Yes, he got 3 expeditions as well, because he went to the east, he went to the west, and he went to the east as far as India. And on his way back from India, he died when he was coming back to his own country, Greece. So, like Ibn Ishaq, who said that he might be Alexander the Great. But we have to see the description which is given here of ZulQarnayn. It seems to be a man, might be a prophet of God. Because this person was doing justice, and even in the first expeditions, he said to the people that a person who has done something wrong, we are going to punish him. But the person who believes and does good deeds, فَلَهُ جَزَاءً الْحُسْنَى وَسَنَقُولُ لَهُ مِنْ أَمْرِنَا يُسْرًا. He will have a very good reward, and we are going to treat him in a good way. And in the same way, in the third expedition, when the people said, please erect a barrier for us, so Gog and Magog people could not attack us. They used to attack from a passage between 2 mountains. And he said, and they said, we are ready to give you wages, money for that. He said, no, I don't want your money. This also shows that this person was a pious person. He said, I got enough money. I only need some manpower from you. Just give me manpower. Other expenses, all I am going to bear it. So this shows that Alexander the Great can't be that person. He was not a just person. He has a very vicious type of character, which we have seen, which we have read in the history. So Alexander, that is out of the question. The second personality, and I think that this one is the most suitable name for all these 3 expeditions, is the name of Cyrus. Cyrus, a king, a Persian king, who is known in Persian language as Kay Khusru, in Arabic as Horus, in English as Cyrus. And this person, it is around, because he died in 529 BC, before Christ, and he was 200 years before Alexander. Now this person, I am going to speak in detail about him. I think that all that description fits upon him. And this is the conclusions which was reached at by a great scholar of India, Abul Kalam Azad. In his Tafsir Tarjuman al-Quran, he has mentioned about his research on Cyrus. Now, many people have come out with different theories. The most latest one is from one of the Saudi scholars, and he has written a very comprehensive book about ZulQarnayn. I still did not have the copy of that book, but I have listened to his lecture on YouTube. And whatever he has written in that book, I got the gist of it in my mind as well. So this person, though he is not one of the scholars, he is a man from a financial background, but he was interested in this issue for some reason, and this is how he started researching about the issue. He went to China, he went to other places as well, and then in his book he says that this person is none but Akhnatun, one of the Pharaoh of Egypt, the son of that Pharaoh who picked Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam when he was an infant. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam was brought up by, as he is saying, by the father of Akhnatun. And the story in Surah Al-Mu'min or Surah Ghafir about someone from the family of Pharaoh who was hiding his iman, and then he gave a great speech in the court of Pharaoh favoring Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. And if you read that speech of this person, you will find out that he was a believer. He was a great believer, and Pharaoh, and he challenged Pharaoh, and only a person who is of that high rank could challenge Pharaoh, the most tyrannical ruler at that time. So the author of that book believes that he was Akhnatun, who became the ruler after the death of Pharaoh, because that Pharaoh was drowned. So Akhnatun became the king, and he was a believer, and for some reason he has to leave Egypt, and then he went to different places. And he says that these three expeditions are one which was towards the west, where he saw the sun rising in a murky water. And he thinks that this was the area, the country which is known as Maldives. And we also pronounce it as Maldives. So Maldives, if you see on the map, it is on equator. It is on the equator. So he saw the sun setting there, and when it sets in the water, it might be a muddy water. So this is why the description of the Quran, that he saw the sun sinking in a spring of murky water. He says that it fits that description when he went to Maldives. All right, the second expeditions, he went to a place of the rising of the sun. Now I think this person has gone too far to prove this, that he says that which is that country where the sun rises first in this world. And of course many people, they have claimed that sun rises, first rays of the sun appears in our country. The people of Japan says that. Go east and that, east of Japan, island of Fiji. The Fiji people, they say the first rays of the sun in the morning, it appears here in Fiji. Because Fiji is just after the date line. So as you know that if it is after the date line, the beginning of the new day is from that date line. I've been to Fiji. Long ago I've been to Fiji, and I have crossed this date line. And what does it mean to crossing the date lines? That when we cross the date lines and we come, I went from London to Los Angeles, and then to Hawaii, Honolulu, and from Hawaii, Honolulu to Fiji. So before Fiji you cross the date line. So what happens? That one day disappears when you go from west to east. One day disappears completely. You were traveling on a Friday or on a Thursday, and you reach there. You think that it is now Friday because you have covered around a long journey. No Friday. Friday was yesterday. It is Saturday today. So you lose one day. All right, one day is lost from my life. No, you will regain it when you come back. So when I traveled back, suppose we have traveled from on a Friday, and when we reach London, they say it is still Thursday, so first Friday is tomorrow. So you gain that day. So in this way, the Fiji people, they say the sun rises in our country first. Now this man said, no, there is another island which is very near to the dateline, and just after the dateline, so the sun rises there the first. Kiribati Island. Kiribati Island. And because this is the island where the sun rises first, in 2000, Bill Clinton went there for a ceremony to see the rising sun, which starts the new day. And of course, there are so many islands there, and the main island, which is their capital, he must have gone there, and according to this Saudi scholar, there is only one hotel, and this hotel is known in their language, the Hotel of Rising Sun. So he said that this person, Akhnatun, must have gone to that place, which is the rising of the sun, and Quran is saying that we did not make any protection for them from the sun. So he says that normally if there are mountains, that is going to give you a protection from the sun, but there are no mountains. So he thinks that these are the islands which the description of Quran fits there as well. Alright, how did he prove that he reached at that place? Where is Maldives? And where is Kiribati? Long way. If you just see the map, you will see what a great distance is between two. And more than that, she said, then he came to China. And in China he has mentioned a certain place where he says that there is a barrier between two mountains which has been filled with iron and molten lead, and it seems that this is the radam. The word radam is used for the barrier. This is the radam of ZulQarnayn. So he reached there and he has made this radam. Now to prove that he was the person of Natun who reached all these three places, that is another difficult thing to prove. Anyhow, this is one of the latest theory about ZulQarnayn. Now as far as Maulana Abul Kalam Azad research is concerned, that is very clear, that all that fits on Cyrus. Now, just to tell you about Cyrus, that he is also mentioned in Bible, by name as well. And ZulQarnayn means a person in Arabic, ZulQarnayn, Al-Qarnayn, the person with two horns, ZulQarnayn. And there is a parable which I am going to read in the book of Daniel, which speaks about these two horns as well. Now let us go back to history. In Iraq there used to be a great kingdom called Assyrians. In Arabic they are known as Al-Ashuriyun, Assyrians. That was in 612 BC, before Christ. Their capital was Nineveh. That came to be destroyed in 612, and then it was destroyed by the king of Babylonia, Bukhtunussar. Now Bukhtunussar, that's again an Arabic word. In English they write it as Banu Kad Nadar. So remember this name, Banu Kad Nadar. So this Banu Kad Nadar, that was a very tyrant type of king. In 587 before Christ, he invaded Palestine He is the one who destroyed the temple of Solomon completely. He is the one who brought the Jews in captivity for 70 years in Babylonia in Iraq. So the Jews who lived in Babylonia in the captivity, among them was Daniel. And Daniel, see that what Daniel has said about his vision. Now the book of Daniel, which is the verses 8, or the chapter 8, he saw a vision. In that vision he says, I raised my eyes to look around me, and I saw a ram standing in front of the river. It had two horns. Both were tall, but one taller than the other. And the one that rose the higher was the second. I saw the ram thrust westward, see, westward, northwards, and southwards. No animal could stand up to it. Nothing could escape it. It did as it pleased and grew very powerful. So Daniel has prophesied about a personality which is he saw it in the form of a ram with two horns, and who is going to attack in three directions. According to the Quranic version, these three directions were westward, eastward, and third, just to the people of Gog and Magog. As we have said, it fits upon Cyrus. Now Cyrus, he was in Persia, and an ordinary shepherd. The year about 559 BC, before Christ. It is said that his grandfather for some reason, he was not in favor of him, and he wanted to expel him. Even he wanted to let him die. So this is why Cyrus was brought up by his mother in the mountains. They used to live in the mountains. But when he grew up, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made all the means available to him, that he became a king of Persia. When he became the king of Persia, he was not only the king of Persia, he has invaded Media as well. What is Media? The word Media in those times, it was applied to Iraq. So he was the king of Faris, Iran, and Media. Now we come to his first expeditions towards the west. That was towards Lydia. Remember, one is Media, which is Iraq, and it is Lydia, that is Anatolia. And what is Anatolia? Modern Turkey. That is called Anatolia. So this area was under the influence of Greek at that time. So, because the kingdom of ZulQarnayn was expanded to Lydia, one of their kings, whose name is Croesus, the king of Lydia, he rebelled against him. Cyrus went to expel that rebellion. The Lydia's capital was known as Sardis. So, of course, he defeated him, and then he wanted to punish him as well. He prepared a place of fire for them, and he said that you are going to be thrown into the fire. He thought that he would be very fearful, but this person, he did not show any fear at all. So when Cyrus saw his courage, he said he is really a man. So he forgave him. And this is how he pardoned his life. And that shows the noble character of Cyrus. He went 1,400 miles from his capital, which is known as Hamadan in Faris in Iran, to the western coast of Turkey at that time facing Aegean Sea. There is a small town called Smyrna. So he approached Smyrna, and in Smyrna, as they described, there are, on the coast itself, there are ponds and ponds of water, and they are all muddy water, or in the description of Quran, murky water. So at the time of the sunset, you see the sun setting into a murky water. في عين حمئة. So that is the descriptions which he has seen, which we can say that it is according to Al-Quran as well. And here he said to those people, if you do good, I am going to reward you. If you do bad, I am going to punish you. And after that, he returned back, and then he went to his eastern expeditions, where it was. If you just have in your mind the map of Persia, we were discussing about west. Now go to the east towards India, towards Afghanistan. This is all east. Towards India, nowadays that area is called Balochistan. He went as far as Makran, and on Afghanistan side as far as Bakhtar, which is known as Balakh now as well. So these people who rebelled against him, and he went to expel their rebellion, they were Bedouin people. They did not have brick houses. They used to live in tents. So this is why they got no protection from the sun. So the description of the Quran that there was no protections for them from the sun fits upon them because they were Bedouin people. So that is the second expeditions. After that, then comes the third one, when he came to some people. They were living in a mountain area, and he could not understand their language, so somebody was making interpretation for them. They said to ZulQarnayn that Gog and Magog, they keep on attacking us from this side of the hill, so please make a barrier for us to stop them coming. Which area was that? And I think that this description is quite understandable. Now, once again, if you got some familiarity with the map, think about Black Sea. On one side, Black Sea, because under Black Sea is Turkey, and on the eastern side of Black Sea, there are countries like Georgia, Armenia. So from Black Sea up till Caspian Sea. So these two, they are two seas. Among them is a mountainous area that is called Caucasus. In Arabic it is called Al-Qawqaz. This Caucasus area is all mountains. Even in the map you will see, because in the map they will show the mountainous area with the, differently from the plain area. And that is now, it is under the rule of Georgia. The capital of this area is Tbilisi. So in the mountain, in the middle of Caucasus, they have found that barrier. Long ago they have found it. Actually, yes, it was a passage in two mountains, and some people, they used to attack from the other side, from the north, and they used to come to this side where these people were living. And this place is now the very same place where there is this barrier is found, is called Dahlia, or the Barrier of Dahlia. At the eastern end of these mountains there is another wall also to stop the attackers. This wall is between the seaside and the mountains. That is the brick wall. And this is why the nearest town there is called Darband. Still, if you see the map, you will find Darband. Darband means that passage which has been closed. Dar, which is closed. Darband. But we are not speaking about this wall, because that is a wall. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling about a barrier between two mountains. First of all, ZulQarnayn has brought the iron, which he has filled that area with molten iron. Above it, he got molten lead. So it becomes so strong that the enemy could not even penetrate into it, make a hole into it, or come above it. Both were impossible. This barrier was seen, some people who have mentioned it in the history, and it was meant for a certain time. And for a certain time, it stopped the people attacking from that side. Who were these people? Quran says they are Gog and Magog. Quran says they are Gog and Magog, and we have to find out who are the Gog and Magog. Go back to Mongolia. Mongolia, that is the source of those tribes who were really warriors, always riding on the backs of the horses. Mongol people, they were very brave and courageous people. But they got a Bedouin life, always on the back of the horses. In Chinese language, Yajuj means the continent of Asia. Majuj means the continents of horses. And I confirmed it last night, this meaning from a person who is well versed, who is a Chinese and who is well versed in Chinese language, in Mandarin. And I said, is it true? Because I just read it in the book. Can you confirm that this is the meaning? And yes, it was confirmed. So it means Juj, the word which means continent. And if it is Yajuj, continent of Asia, and if it is Majuj, continent of horses. So the Chinese people, they knew these two words. Now these Mongolian people, right from date back to 2000 years before Christ, they used to come out of Mongolia and go towards the west. Towards the east is nothing, because they will end up into the sea. So they always used to come towards the west. These are the people. From them came Mughal people. Now these Mughal people are Mughal people. As you know that they have ruled India for quite a long time. Among them, another branch has come out, those who are known as Tatar. Tatar who invaded Baghdad and who devastated the Abbasid kingdom. They were Tatar. And among them, there was another tribe which was there from 900 BC till 200 BC. For 700 years. They are known as Scythians. Maulana Abul Kalam Azad has mentioned about Scythians that these people who were settled down in Siberia, and from Siberia they used to come out to attack all that area till Europe, because if you see the map, it is for them, the whole plain is open for them to travel from Siberia until they come to all Russian states, used to be the states, till Russia and till Denmark and Sweden. All that area was covered by them. That is all north. But if they want to enter into Iran, Middle East, then they have this passage between the Caspian Sea and Black Sea. Between them is Caucasus mountain, and through them they used to attack. So it means that this area at that time, it was attacked by Scythians, who was one of the different Mongolian races. We must understand here that these Mongolian different races, there were some of them who settled down and became civilized like Mongol people. Then they were no more like the original Mongol people, no. So many of them, they became, among them were Arya as well. They became settled down, they became civilized. And there were others who were not civilized, they used to attack. And as I said to you, that among them are the Scythian people. And very recently there was an exhibition by the British Museum in London for about 4 months about Scythians. And they have brought many weapons and pottery and so many other articles which were used by them, and they were collected in that museum, in that exhibition. And they told us that how these people, they were always traveling on the back of the horses, and if a warrior dies, they are going to bury his horse with him as well after killing him. And they have spoken about all different types of barbaric type of characters which they used to have. So these people, they used to attack, and ZulQarnayn or Cyrus made a barrier to stop them. Now these Gog and Magog people, as I said to you, they are mentioned in Ezekiel now. Let me read from Ezekiel, from Bible. It says, Son of man, prophesy against God, say, the Lord Yahweh says this, now I set myself against you, Gog, prince of Rosh, that is Russia now, Meshech, that is Moscow, and Tubal. Tubal is always also known in Russia. I will turn you round, lead you on, and bring you from the farthest north to attack the mountains of Israel. I will break the bow in your left hand and dash the arrows out of your right. You will be killed on the mountains of Israel, you and all your hordes and the nations with you. I shall make you food for carrion birds and wild beasts. So that was about the Ezekiel. And it is also mentioned in the Revelation of John, that is in the New Testament, that these people have been detained and they would be let loose after 1,000 years. It says, when the 1,000 years are over, Satan will be released from his prison and will come out to deceive all the nations in the 4 quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, and mobilize them for war. His armies will be as many as the sands of the sea. They will come swarming over the entire country and besiege the camp of the saints, which is the city that God loves. But fire will come down on them from heaven and consume them. Then the devil who misled them will be thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet are, and their torture will not stop day or night forever and ever. Now, interestingly, in Surah Al-Anbiya, this Gog and Magog, or Yajuj and Majuj, is mentioned in Surah Al-Kahf, and they are also mentioned in Surah Al-Anbiya. One ayah, حَتَّى إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَاجُوجُ وَمَاجُوجُ وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. Till the time when Gog and Magog would be released, and they would become from each height, min kulli hadabin, yansilun. Yansilun means they will come just like sleeping. Someone is sleeping from a height. So it means that Yajuj and Majuj, these people, they are going to come once again before the end of the time, before the end of this world. Our Prophet ﷺ was once in the house of his wife Zainab bint Jahsh. He was sleeping there and then he stood up, worried. And then he said these words, وَيْلٌ لِلْعَرَبِ مِنْ شَرٍ قَدْ اقْتَرَبْ قَدْ فُتِحَ مِنْ رَدْمِ يَاجُوجَ وَمَاجُوجَ كَهَذَا أَوْ مِثْلَ هَذَا. What did he say after he stood up from his sleep? وَيْلٌ لِلْعَرَبِ, woe to the Arabs. مِنْ شَرٍ قَدْ اقْتَرَبْ, from an evil which is very near. A gap or a hole like this, and he showed it with his finger like this. A gap like this has been opened in the barrier of Yajuj and Majuj. What does it mean? Is it the same barrier? No, that barrier that was in those primitive days, that barrier could have worked because people could not cross it, so they did not attack it. But till the day of judgment, when we see that now we got so many type of transportations, we got planes, we don't need to cross any mountain by entering into a passage. You can cross it above it by the plane. So it is no more, this barrier is no more functionable now. But it was there for a time being, as Surah Al-Kahf has said, that he said that this barrier will remain until such time قال هذا رحمة من ربي فإذا جاء وعد ربي جعله دكا وكان وعد ربي حقا. He said, this is a mercy from my Lord, but when the promise of my Lord come to pass, he will make it into dust, and the promise of my Lord is true. So we can say that because this barrier has been crushed and it has been seen, but it is no more there. So it has served its purpose for that time. People who who wanted to attack from that side of mountains, they were not able to do it. And at a certain time, it came to be crushed completely. It was turned into dust. What the Prophet ﷺ has said. Now, this dream itself is always figurative thing. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying that those Gog and Magog who were stopped because of a barrier, now I can see that there is a hole in the barrier. So it means that the evil which is going to fall upon the Arabs is very near to fall upon them. So it does not mean that actually it is going to be through the barrier. No, because these people would come. Prophet was shown that now there is a time when they would start coming once again, because this sign shows with the hand that there would be a part of it which would appear now. And that part of Gog and Magog in the form of Tatar who invaded Iraq in 1256 and devastated Baghdad. That was the last Arabic power, Abbasid Caliphate, which was devastated and came to an end. That was the last thing for Arab. After that, they got no such big empire at all. Who came after that? Ottoman. They were not Arabs. So the saying of the Prophet ﷺ that there is an evil for Arabs which is very near, it is going to happen, that was the first prophecy. وَيْلٌ لِلْعَرَبِ مِنْ شَرٍّ قَدْ اقْتَرَبَ. So that was the one of their appearance after such a long time. And then those ahadiths which speak about their coming in the end of the time, which is the subject matter of Surah Al-Anbiya, حَتَّى إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَاجُجُ وَمَاجُوجُ وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. That is going to happen among the major signs of the last day. Among the major signs, as you know, appearance of Dajjal, Antichrist, and coming of Yajuj and Majuj, Gog and Magog, in such a great number, It says that when they would approach the lake of Tiberia, now the lake of Tiberia is between Jordan and Israel, lake of Tiberia. They will come because it is a lake of sweet water. They will start drinking from that water. But Yajuj and Majuj are in such a great number that they will keep on drinking until when the last fraction of them would come to Lake of Tiberia. There was no Lake of Tiberia at all. People would tell them, there used to be a lake here. The whole water was drunk by them. These were the people. And they are going to fill the land. And that is the time when Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam has already come. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam has already killed the Antichrist, the Dajjal. And he is there with his followers, believers. Among them, the Muslims. Among them, those Christians now, after believing in Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, they are also Muslim. So Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, after seeing such a great number of Yajuj and Majuj, he would be directed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to go to Mount Sinai. So he would go to Mount Sinai. Because he can't face these people in such a great number. And they were vicious people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would make His own ways to destroy them. An epidemic would break into them, and by this epidemic they are going to die. And when they die, it would be such a great number of people dying on the land that the land would be filled with that bad smell which is coming out of their bodies. Nobody can tolerate that smell. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would send some birds, mighty birds. Those birds who are going to pick the corpses of these people and throw them into the sea. And this is how the land would be cleared from them. And after that, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam would come down of Mount Sinai. So this ayah of Surah Al-Anbiya, that speaks about the last coming of Yajuj and Majuj. But still, so that there must not be any confusion, what we are saying, that we are speaking here about such people who were barbaric and who did not believe in any divine guidance, and they are the people who are going to do all these type of evil acts, and their name are known to be Yajuj and Majuj. So they will come from the east, but where are they now? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows better. But this is going to happen in the end. I said in the beginning that the word Cyrus was used or was mentioned in Bible as well. And this is the reference. This is the prophecy of Prophet Isaiah. Isaiah, in Arabic, Yes'aya. Thus says Yahweh to his anointed, to Cyrus, whom he has taken by his right hand, to subdue nations before him, and strip the loins of kings, to force gateways before him, that their gates be closed to no more. The main thing is that this word, Cyrus, has been mentioned by the Bible, and the Jews knew about him. So when the Jews asked these three questions, they had told the mushrikeen of Makkah that ask him about a certain person. So it means that they knew about this person. This is why they are asking. They were not asking about someone which is totally unmatchable with the description of Quran, like this Akhnatun. They must have been asking about someone they knew, and that was, as I said, that was none except Cyrus. So just to sum up and to come to the end of what we want to say, we have said that these people who were Mongol people, among them those who have become civilized like Aryans in India, in Persia they are known as Iryana, in Anatolia they are known as Hitti, and in Europe they are known as Hun, Vandal. The same word Vandal, from here comes Andalus. Franks, Goth, and among them are Scythians. As I said to you that they were there from 900 BC to 200 BC. We are speaking about those Gog and Magog, those tribes who were not civilized. Now, among the good work of Cyrus is that Bukhtu-Nusr made the Jews captive. But who brought them back from the captivity of Babylonian to Palestine? That was Cyrus. Because Cyrus defeated Bukhtu-Nusr, and after defeating him, he ruled Babylonia, and then he brought the Jews back to Palestine, and he allowed them to make the second temple. The successor of Alexander, they did not last. His kingdom came to an end after his death. But the kingdom which was left by Cyrus survived for 200 years. So it shows that there is no comparison between Alexander and Cyrus. And once again, the description of Quran of ZulQarnayn fits upon Cyrus for these reasons. I give you another 5 reasons. First of all, the vision of Daniel, which I have read to you. Second thing, the questioning of the Jews. Jews ask certain questions, and they ask about that personality who got 3 expeditions, and that person was known to them because his name is Cyrus, and he is mentioned in the Bible. Third, all the good character which is given in Al-Quran fits upon Cyrus, not upon Alexander. Fourth, his 3 expeditions are very clear according to Al-Quran. The fifth one is that this person, Cyrus, he came after Zardusht. Now Zarathustra was a man who appeared in Persia, in Faris, and he was inviting towards the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He used to name Allah as Ahura Mazda, which means to worship Allah. But his teachings were changed just like all the other teachings of the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it seems to us that Cyrus was the follower of Zarathustra. He was the follower of a Nabi, and this is why some of our Salaf even said that ZulQarnayn was himself a Nabi. But we can't say it very confidently that he was a Nabi. At least he was a very pious king. If he was not a prophet, he was a pious king. Number 6, in 1838, a statue was discovered in a place called Istakhar, and I said to you that Istakhar, this is the area of Khurasan between Afghanistan and Iran. A statue was found of a person who got 2 wings and 2 horns, and they said that this was the statue of Cyrus. So even the statue which was made, it was made with 2 horns. So it means that when Quran named him as ZulQarnayn, that was not a new name then. And the last thing, those Greek historians like Xenophon, Herodotus, Ctesias, these are three Greek historians. They are giving a very good, admirable description of Cyrus, though he was their enemy. Because there was always a fighting between the Greek and the Persian. So, if they are the enemy of the Persians, they will not mention them with good words. But still they are praising Cyrus because they believed that Cyrus was a noble king. And you know that in Arabic we say, وَالْفَضْلُ مَا شَهِدَتْ بِهِ الْأَعْدَاءُ. If your enemy is giving you a certificate of commendation, then it is really a certificate because it is coming from your enemy. So, the enemies, the Greek, they have given this good description of Cyrus. So these are the few things by which I can say that until now, even myself, I am convinced that this personality could only fit the personality of Cyrus, and all other sayings which have been said by the people, including the latest theory of Akhenaton, does not fit the description of the Quran. But Allah knows better. This is it is our effort to find out what Quran says, and does it fit some personality or not. It is just like the Ark of Noah, because it is described in the Quran, it is described in the Bible. Some people would say, no, it is all fable, nothing, it did not happen. But if someone has discovered that ark in the mountain of Ararat in Turkey, and he has showed the place of that mountain and its fragments and in the mountains, in the snow, then it becomes a big evidence, a powerful evidence for us, for the believers to say, yes, this thing has happened in the history, and here is the proof. Just here is the proof. And that is going to increase your belief. It is just like, very recently I read something else that is about Laylatul Qadr. Because Quran says about Laylatul Qadr, Salamun hiya hatta matla'il fajr. It is all peaceful until the rising of the dawn. And then in hadith description we say that night it is not very cool, it is not very hot, and even the sun, the next day when the sun rises, it has not those rays which are going to hit you and hurt you. It is all cool, it is all peace. This is the primitive or the simple meaning we got. But nowadays, if something better comes to our mind or to our knowledge, then of course we can accept it. What is that thing which has come out? According to the research of NASA, as you know, NASA is the biggest organizations in America which is concerned about all this astronomical science and astronomical researches. They discovered something very unique. They say that each night from 10 to 20,000 meteorites falls upon the earth. And this is because of the atmosphere of the earth that they burn in the upper atmosphere of the earth. If they hit the earth, then it means it would be havoc. There would be no person living in the earth. But they fall, 10 to 20,000. Then they discover only there is just one night in the whole year when nothing of this sort happens. They themselves said. And they discovered it that this night always comes in the month of Ramadan. And then they came to know that Muslim people, they believe or they claim that there is a night where it is all peace. Salamun hiya hatta matla'il fajr. And this is why they were not ready to disclose this knowledge. Until the scientists who discovered this thing he became Muslim. And he made it known to all the people. Such an amazing thing that, yes, you are attacked by these meteorites from 10 to 20,000 each night, except for one night, and that is none but Laylatul Qadr, the night of power, the night of dignity. So this is the reason for which I am saying that though it is enough for us to say, oh, Quran has mentioned about ZulQarnayn, he was a king, he was a warrior, he was a pious person, he might be a Nabi as well. Why are you after his name? Our answer is that because it is a historical matter, and if it is a historical matter, there is nothing wrong if we try to find out who was that person. And alhamdulillah, by this research which has been made by our scholars, and here especially Abul Kalam Azad, we come to know that he might be that person who is known as Cyrus in the history. And in the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows better. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows better. Wallahu a'lam. Wallahu a'lam. وصلى الله تعالى على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Any questions?
Assalamu alaikum. I have one question.
Yes.
Anything heard about this Yajuj and Majuj, about the Chinese Great Wall?
Yeah.
That some people talking about the Great Wall is still there, and might be one day the Yajuj and Majuj coming from that wall. Anything about her?
Yes, Jenny. One thing is that this wall which was that wall is 1,500 miles long. So the description of this radam does not fit there at all. This radam barrier is between two mountains, but this wall is just to stop them from invading. Then it also shows that those people, the Chinese people, or that Chinese king who made that wall, he wanted to stop them from invading China. So actually, these are the very same people who used to attack them. But as I said, they got different names. They did not know it by the name of Gog and Magog. They knew it from different other names which are known in Mongolia at that time. But actually that is true, that this wall was made also to stop them. Yes.
About the NASA research or project, I actually read about it, but I tried to find the scientific paper, officially, the official scientific paper is published.
I will go back to the source then, the person who has provided us with this, because he has given a link as well. Did not you see the link?
But I didn't get the resource. I mean, you talk about it, but there is the original NASA.
Yes, you are true. You are right that we must have some original paper about that as well. I will try to find out. Inshallah.
Sheikh, I've heard in some lessons that there's some hadiths that live in a cave. I mean, this tribe of Yajuj Majuj, they live in a cave, or?
Now this hadith, yes, this hadith, there is one hadith which is quoted by many speakers as well. One hadith says that these Yajuj and Majuj, they are living in a place under the ground, and they came each day to knock this barrier, but they are not able to do it. Even when they make some success into it, they go back, next day they found it complete once again. They found it has been filled once again. So they start afresh. Second night, third, until that day when they said that inshallah we are going to come back tomorrow and we will do it. So then they were able to knock it down. Now this hadith, as far as its isnad is concerned, that is not a authentic hadith. It is a da'if hadith, and even if you think logically that some people somewhere they are under the ground, they are trying to knock it down, and that's still not understandable at all.
People that show pictures in Russia with big holes and they say, oh, they might be inside in this big crater area. I mean, that's what people say.
All right, Jazakumullah khairan. I don't want to detain you further. Jazakumullah
Just one thing, Sheikh, in the Surah Kahf it mentions so many times, inshallah.
khairan.
So, doesn't that make that hadith to be slightly authentic? We just narrate it because when these people say inshallah will come tomorrow, then when they dig it, the previous night they remain the same positions.
No, these people, they are described as barbarians. They did not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is not expected of them to say, because if they believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why do they attack the people? Why do they do cruelty to them? So they are not the people who believe in Allah. Not at all.
Jazakallah.